What's going on, everybody? My name is Jack Kelly, host of Point to the Spot, a U.S.-based podcast focused on the world of football. Joining me today, as always, my entirely bonkers friend, Reed Hammond. Reed, how are you?
I'm a little under the weather. A bit of a sore throat. I slept for a total of 15 hours of the last 48. Of the last 36. I slept from 4 to 8 yesterday and then also slept from 11 to 9. So, well rested, I think is the word.
Also joining the show, a future presidential candidate, Ball for Prez 2020. I can't stand Donald Trump's America. Andrew Ball. Andrew, how are you?
I'm very well. I'm not as well rested as Reed, but I'm still well. How are you, Jack?
I'm all right. No rest for the weary, as they say. The end is near.
The end is near because I'm going to visit Reed this weekend.
The end of the podcast is near.
Do you know who is the only person in the world more rested than I am? Barack Obama.
Hey,
he's also rolling in it.
He had to speak publicly the other day. They paid him like $500,000 to do that public appearance.
No, it wasn't that
such bullshit.
That was another one with Cantor Fitzgerald.
$500,000. I can't wait till I'm making Barack money, man.
On behalf of the pod, we also can't wait for you to be making Barack money.
Yeah, Crooked Media, buy us out, man. Come on, we're so on brand.
Do you know what actually is our brand though? Talking about soccer.
We do.
Yeah,
we do
right.
talk about football from time to time.
We get there eventually every time. Okay.
Hey, they come. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. Oh no!
Hold on.
I'm trying to find. Hold on. We gotta loop around. I'm trying to find this fucking iTunes review so I can plug it.
This is getting cut. Snaps for the highest known interview numbers we've ever done on a pod.
Actually, it's not. I think the first one got higher.
Yeah, well, that doesn't count.
That doesn't count. Okay. It was a good. I think that what the people really want is they want more Jeb Bush.
They want more topical, and by topical I mean topical 6 months ago.
Political references.
Republican primary jokes. Yeah, and I got a load of Republican primary jokes. They're just fucking in the arsenal right now, ready to go. Okay. I'm
not
sorry
wearing an
that
shirt, but
your club is also a noun. And as Andrew, just real quick, I need you to say for the edit, so much of this is going to get cut.
So much of this is going to get cut. And Joey Barton is still the embodiment of white privilege.
Yeah. Okay, Jack, figure out what you were trying to do, because I don't know if that review ever.
I'm going to read this iTunes review for EVT and plug it so we can maybe get some other ones.
Okay. But James said he put one up.
Who did?
James, friend of the pod.
Oh, so maybe this was him?
Oh,
is that me?
That was you. That was definitely you.
No, I think that's his friend.
It could be.
I remember I tried doing this, but it wouldn't post. Do you remember, Reed?
Yeah, and I think it eventually posted. Because I think he put one up, and it just hasn't gone up yet.
Gotcha. Well, I'm going to read this one from EVT, and then I'm going to plug it.
Because that one's a real
I'm just going to come back with but before we get to the football. I feel like that's a nice transition. You can make it happen.
I feel like you should just edit none of this out, Reed.
No, yeah, I'm leaving it all. All of it stands.
Good. But before we get to the football, we have a 5-star review on iTunes. One EVT, if I'm saying that right, says, Jack, Andrew, and Reed have a great knowledge of soccer from around the world and will keep you up to date on the latest results and news in the sport. Fun to listen to. EVT, thank you very much. We appreciate the kind words. Of course, guys.
I feel like us reading our 5-star iTunes reviews on the podcast is the equivalent of a 5-year-old coming home with a drawing that isn't totally shit and putting it on the refrigerator.
Yeah.
That's true. With that in mind, though, if you like the show, go leave us a 5-star review on iTunes.
For 5-star review on iTunes I have to drink one less cup of coffee each day. So just keep it going because
or do one more shot this weekend with me.
Oh yeah.
This is a public health service. You need to leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and follow us on Twitter at Point to the Spot so Reed does not die.
Yeah, literally I'm only gonna raise your healthcare premiums due to the amount of alcohol and caffeine that I consume. Okay? So if you don't want me to start smoking, which I will if you guys don't start fucking reviewing this thing. That's
and on that note, Chelsea 4, Southampton 2.
Yeah, this was quite the game. Eden Hazard got it going early which I hate saying because I still believe Hazard is shit and should not have been the PFA Player of the Year over Alexis Sanchez 2 years ago.
But
3
you're
years
not
ago.
bitter, right?
3 years ago. Got it going in the 5th minute, only to have Oriol Romeu equalize in the 24th minute. That being said, everything for this goal was done by Gabbiadini once again, and he will very quickly not be in a Southampton shirt, even though he's only been there half a season. Gary Cahill, of all people, gets the goal in the 46th minute, right out of halftime.
Okay, can I quickly comment? How the hell did Gary Cahill get in the Team of the Year over Toby Alderweireld?
He wasn't even
What
the best
the
defender in
actual
Chelsea.
fuck?
Oh,
Okay,
Gary
as
Cahill's
you
not
were.
good.
Gary Cahill's bad, but somehow managed to score this goal. Diego Costa also scored 53rd, and then it was a little bit out of reach. Costa gets a second in the 89th, and Bertrand grabs him in the 94th, and it looks like a lot more entertaining of a match than it actually was. Chelsea got the job done. There's not a lot to talk about.
I just want to say I texted the group message after Hazard scored his first goal and was like, congratulations on Chelsea on winning the title. And I got a lot of shit for it. And then at full time, I think we now can officially congratulate Chelsea on winning the title.
This is true, unless they drop, 2 very unexpected fixtures.
What I think really stood out is how much Romeo will not be wearing. Romeo and Gabbiadini, I don't know where they're going next season, but it won't be the South Coast. Because Romeo, Barcelona blood, started at Chelsea, and he's finally proven himself in the league. So he's got to go somewhere. He's a Champions League level holding midfielder.
I can see him going to like Sevilla.
Oh yeah, he would do very well.
In Champions League.
He's going to Roma.
Yeah. Villarreal kind of thing. Yeah, Roma. Like
they've
maybe
got Monchi in
Lazio.
there. Sporting director.
Very good player. Very, very good player. Cannot give him enough plaudits. That goal he had nothing to do with. Like, I would have scored that because he just kind of stood there, and then Gabbiadini shot the ball at him, and it happened to go in. But a very good player, and a player that I think is definitely going to be highly coveted this transfer window.
Reed, I think that is a metaphor for your role in the pod.
yeah, you guys tee things up, and I just happen to be there to knock him in.
Anyways, moving on. The Arsenal Gunners got a 1-0 victory at the Emirates against Leicester. Left it late to a Nacho Monreal volley, which then hit Robert Huth in the chest, and then found its way past Kasper Schmeichel into the goal. Who knew that Nacho Monreal was the goal-scoring problem solver for Arsenal? I certainly didn't. This in mind, 1-0 does not really reflect the way that this game went. Arsenal were completely dominant the whole way through. After the first half, they had 76% of the ball. And, I mean, it was a pretty one-sided affair. I mean, Leicester had a couple chances. Petr Cech made 2 good saves. I'm not going to call them miraculous. They did get hit right at him, but he had good reaction time. Good saves. I don't know. Things that stood out to me. They look good playing with this like strange 3-4-2-1 formation that they've been sporting the last couple of games, but they were set up poorly to play in this formation from the get-go. Alexis Sanchez was playing through the middle, and when the literal formation is set up to swing the ball and cross it into the box, I don't understand why Danny Welbeck, or even I don't understand why Olivier Giroud or even Danny Welbeck didn't start in this game as tall, strong strikers in the middle of the box. Really needed their presence, and when Giroud came out in the second half, you really saw like that kind of physical presence that he had. Welbeck looked decent on the wing. One person I was really impressed by was Kieran Gibbs. He actually looked really good in that role. I mean, obviously a pacey player. Got up and down well. Being left-footed is nice. I don't know. This could actually be a spot for him in the future because I think it's good that he has a blend of decent defending ability and, Kieran Gibbs only scores screamers. Overall, good 1-0 victory. Arsenal got points. They're within striking distance of Liverpool. Depending on the Manchester Derby today, things could be very different. In striking distance to get back into the top 4 now. I don't know. There's a chance that it happens. Obviously, tough fixtures having to play at White Hart Lane this weekend and later hosting United and Everton at the Emirates. But, I don't know. I have a good feeling. I always have good feelings. I don't know why. I had a good feeling about the FA Cup semifinal. That worked out. That's all I got to say. We'll move on. We'll let Reed handle this next one. The Battle of the Giants. Middlesbrough 1, Sunderland 0. Getting dicey down there between 19th and 20th place. Puts Borough on 21 points, 6 back of Hull. I guess 6 out of safety. Were there any groundbreaking takeaways from this match?
Oh yeah, no. Point of difference of the pod. We watch the shit matches, so you don't have to. Well, Jack got to enjoy the Arsenal match. Andrew got to enjoy the Spurs match. I clicked on the Borough Sunderland match. And was rewarded early on. There was a early goal. It was I don't know.
Yeah, De Bruyne scored in just the 8th minute.
Yeah, so I had a lot of hope, I think is the word, but as the north of England often reacts to hope, that hope was crushed fervently by all sides. Just not a good soccer match. If you guys want to watch the championship, I would recommend maybe Brighton Newcastle is probably a better matchup than Borough Sunderland. I think there's just a level of vitamin D deficiency that we're seeing going on at this point. Very just boring. Andrew was right. It was dreadful. I didn't like it. It's kind of like eating your vegetables. Sometimes you just got to watch it.
Cool. Tottenham traveled to Selhurst, got a very late victory off of a decent strike from Eriksson.
Decent, mate. That was a brilliant strike.
Yeah, I mean, he hit it well. Keeper saw it the whole way. Good. It was a good finish. I'm not going to take it away from him.
Okay, if Olivier Giroud did that, you would be singing.
You're right.
You would be writing sonnets about it on air.
Hey, I said I'm not taking anything away from it. Also sporting the 3-5-2-1, which they've been at much longer than Arsenal. I mean, interesting game. Pochettino made some interesting decisions, bringing on Youngman's son and Musa Sissoko in the 45th minute, replacing Victor Wanyama and Musa Dembele.
Shout out to Musa Sissoko for not looking totally like shit today or yesterday. Reed was wrong. I actually didn't watch this game because, while we watch the shit matches, so you don't have to. I cover Wisconsin State politics, so you don't have to. So I was at my job yesterday and didn't get to see it, aside from the Christian Eriksen goal. So I won't say too much more about this. But
I mean, you didn't miss too much. It was a lot of Big Sam had packed them in. Just to give you an idea how this game went. Palace completed 58% of their passes. Spurs completed 83% of their passes. Pretty much 70-30 in favor of Spurs in possession.
It was. I mean, they got what you had to expect from Palace at home in this scenario. It's kind of a sneaky, tough result to go to Selhurst and grab 3 points. So they did themselves well. They are still ostensibly in the title race, although I don't see their path to claiming the title. But keep the hope alive a little longer.
Yeah, they're one result away from St. Totteringham's Day being official.
I think they might have clinched it.
Was it?
I think you might.
I feel like it would have been a bigger deal.
I saw somewhere where they clinched it.
Oh, you might be right. No, there's 6 games to go. Yeah, they need another one to do it. Anyways, guys, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, a couple of big announcements in the footballing world. Video-assisted refereeing is going to be implemented in the 2018 World Cup. We're going to be talking about that. And then in part 3, the gloves will come off, and we're going to have the first ever point to the spot boxing match. So stick around, guys, and enjoy the music.
ID show, come on.
I think what we're really going to spend the whole time arguing about is Jack and Reed arguing about whether or not it's a fucking variety show.
It's a fucking variety show, dude. You never know what you're going to get. But you know it's going to be good. I am Dean Martin, okay?
I'm not getting that.
Wow, how about that for timing?
I tell you, I don't know shit about business, so they don't want me picking up their phones.
That's how I feel.
I was at the business manager election yesterday. I was like, all over my head.
You were who got it?
Matt Winoski is his name, I think.
Cool dude.
He seemed nice. Yeah, I think he's going to need a little coaching from Grant and Andrew Hom, but he seems cool.
Just hope that
should we get it on?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is there an article where I can talk a little bit more about this off of? I just want to have more of the details.
I don't even know that they know all the details. But
What are you guys talking about?
For the World Cup.
I don't think they know all the what it's gonna look like.
Oh, fine, I'll post it.
I got it here.
Mundo! Good.
It's Gianni Infantino, right? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Go.
All right, we're coming back in 5, 4, 3. Welcome back to part 2 of the show, guys. As I mentioned, FIFA president Gianni Infantino confirmed, was it Tuesday, I believe, that video assistant referees will be used at the 2018 World Cup in Russia. The decision comes after, quote, a number of successful trials over, the last couple seasons at a variety of levels. We've seen it in the international game, most recently in the World Cup qualifying game between France and Spain, where De Feo had his goal not called offsides and actually counted, even though the linesman had his flag up because he was onside. So we see it there. Infantino said, quote, in 2017, when everyone in the stadium or at home can see within seconds if the referee made a mistake, we can't have a situation where the only one who can't see it is the referee, unquote. Andrew, we'll go to you because were at the first ever professional game to sport or use the video assistant referee last summer. It was a New York Red Bulls 2 game. I don't know who they were playing against.
Orlando City 2.
But there was actually a pretty heavy use of the video assistant referee in this game. So I guess your take, can you describe what it's like a little bit?
Yeah, so I think they've kind of ironed it out since then. Initially what happened, so it was, they used it in the USL last year, specifically at Red Bull Arena. It was equipped with the technology. And there was a penalty shout on the edge of the box, and it was a last man scenario. So what the referee did is he took time out and went over, and there was a tablet almost that they gave him. He watched the replay and came back, awarded the penalty, and sent the Orlando defender off. So it was then, I think they were still trying to iron out some difficulties. It was not the most efficient thing I've ever seen. That being said, I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think what they're moving more towards is like what they have in rugby, which works really, really well given for a sport that is like soccer and free flowing, where there's a break, the referee goes to the TMO, is what they call it in rugby, and there's a fifth referee in the booth that is constantly looking at the tape, and they confer over the microphone and reach a decision. I mean, really, in rugby, usually within a minute, confirming or disallowing whatever decision was made. So I think that if it's a scenario like that, like you have in rugby, it wouldn't really interrupt the flow of the game too much because they can pull back. It's only used in limited circumstances, goals, red cards, penalties, cases of mistaken identity. So it's pretty limited.
So when Andre Mariner is being a wanker and sends off Kieran Gibbs instead of Oxlade Chamberlain.
Jack's not bitter about that. But I think I'm in favor of it with a few reservations yet. I think it hasn't been explored at quite the level. It hasn't been used in quite as widely as I would have liked before they moved to the World Cup. But we do have 10 years to do that. So.
Yeah, and this is definitely something that I think they'll be
2 years to do that.
This is definitely something that they'll be using Confederations Cup this coming summer in Russia, testing it out in the stadiums. And we've already seen it. They started to use it in the European World Cup qualifiers. Who knows if it makes its way over to CONCACAF and the Hex? I don't know. It's interesting. Reed, what are your thoughts about this? I'm very wishy-washy personally about taking some of the gamesmanship and some of the traditional aspects out of the game. At the same time, it is extraordinarily annoying when we'll use the example, the Fire got screwed on Friday night against Toronto. What clearly was a handball inside the box was given on the edge of the box, ended up changing the way the game goes. That happens often. Reed, what do you think about this video assistant referee?
I want it to be used as sparingly as possible. I love a bit of gamesmanship, and I think that's definitely part of how it's played, and I think it's part of how it's always been played. I think there's a lot of room for error, and I think we're going to see a lot of problems early on, and we're going to have a lot of people, namely me, criticize it openly and often during that World Cup. But, 20 years from now, when they have everything worked out and referees are trained from the ground up on VAR, I think it's going to be good for the game, and I think we're going to see a better way of playing. It's not, apples to apples, but I think it's similar to the back pass. Once the back pass was eliminated, there were early problems. I think we're going to see worse early problems with VAR, but it improved the way the game is played, the laws of the game. So we'll see. I'm optimistic, but I think there's definitely going to be a lot of things to work out in the beginning.
Yeah, there'll be some growing pains, definitely. That's kind of how it happens. I think it'll be a little bit in the sense like a good comparison is like Major League Baseball here in the States.
Yeah.
People were very hesitant to implement it, but now that it's been available for 2 seasons and it's full, like, and fully functioning, I think it's really benefited the game. So hopefully we see similar things to that. I don't know, though, if they really want to be successful. I think that FIFA should be pushing its leagues around the world, the Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, Ligue 1, the Bundesliga, MLS, these leagues to start implementing it beginning next season if they want players and managers and fans to be used to it for the World Cup.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I mean, players are going to be instantly more reflexively pushed back more against technology coming in for the first time on the biggest stage on the World Cup. And I think that like using it at the Confed Cup and then maybe integrating into some domestic leagues like MLS, MLS is they've used MLS as a training ground for other technological experimentation, like a second referee, stuff like that. So I think just getting the players used to it will go a long way to making it a success and making sure everyone's comfortable with it and like you don't have any sour grapes the first time someone, is victimized by VAR.
Yeah, I think it's also important too that like leagues and FIFA especially set the precedent that it's not like coaches don't have the right to challenge something. Like they were talking about how recently, I forget what match it was in, someone was tripped and he kind of gave him like a little like one of these like players appealing, like making any kind of gesture towards it. It's an automatic yellow card according to the rules. It's one of those things that it's like. Just because it's there doesn't mean that players should be fishing for it to be used. Same thing with managers. That's kind of how I feel about it. It's not like a challenge in the NFL. It's there to make the right decision rather than to make every decision.
One thing I do like that they do in rugby, and I would love to see soccer use this for more and more, is if you're watching on TV, you can hear the conference between the on-field ref and the TMO ref in the booth and see that and hear like what the decision-making process is. And that kind of reduces, I think, for the fans, kind of this level of uncertainty about like, is there like home cooking in the back for, the second that like England or, the US or someone is a beneficiary of this, people are going to like the conspiracy theorists are going to come out of the woodwork. I think that would cut down on, Reed Hammond. What was your conspiracy theory from the Caribbean pod, Reed?
Dude.
That Mexico beat Trinidad and Tobago in the semifinal, but it was the quarterfinal.
People are going to come up with dumb shit like that.
Okay, no, but all the way through, Mexico got calls because they knew they needed one of the.
Anyways, guys, that's all we have to say about the video assistant referee. Come 2018, it'll certainly be an ordeal. It's crazy to think that we're only a summer away, really, from everything being full swing World Cup qualifying. That's all for now, though. When we come back for part 3 of the show, we are going to be having an open forum debate between my 2 lovely co-hosts. Definitely not a variety show, just a good old-fashioned talk show. Until then, guys, we'll be right back. So what do y'all want to talk about?
We're talking about Stadia.
And why Reed's an idiot for thinking.
You're an idiot.
I don't know how you think it's a better stadium than like.
Okay.
The Westfalen Stadium.
Okay, what I mean is that I think it's one of the few stadiums that directly and consistently improves the team on the field. And I think the Westfalen Stadia does, but I don't think the Emirates radically improves the way Arsenal plays.
I would agree with that.
But like when Chelsea supporters are literally 5 feet away from the pitch.
Okay, it's the same thing at White Hart Lane. I'm not going around saying White Hart Lane's one of the top 3 stadiums in Europe.
I don't know if the Emirates don't substantially make Arsenal play better
But I don't think that's like what makes a good stadium necessarily.
That's okay. Yeah, and I think that's the conversation we need.
Okay,
to
if
have.
we're having this conversation, the Emirates is the nicest stadium. It's not the best stadium. It's the nicest, but that's also the virtue of the fact that
those
it's
rich
built.
plastic Arsenal fans.
Is built in 2008. Okay, that is a myth because
not
this club was started as a fucking. They worked at a fucking. They
Okay.
worked in an arsenal. They worked
But
as gunmen in the
But
tower.
now, what's the average price
Yeah.
for a ticket at the Emirates?
It's expensive. It's
Yeah.
expensive everywhere
Yeah.
in England.
It's more expensive than White Hart
now.
Lane or
Yeah, but you're also
Anfield.
paying for like you're paying
You're subsidizing the
for the fact that the
rich-ass
stadium is super nice.
Okay, well,
Like when you buy to Arsenal tickets, you get things when you go into the stadium that you don't. Other things you get free programs and you get free food and shit. Like you don't get that at other,
Okay.
at other stadiums around. That's why tickets are so expensive.
Okay, I'm just trying to say that the people who used to go to Upton Park and the people who go to the Emirates are different people.
Yes, because people that live
Like-
in Highbury versus people that live
Well,
in
that's true.
Sussex are different people.
That's true.
And you would fit
Essex.
in much better in Highbury than you would in Essex.
That's
so-
so untrue.
No, that's so true.
Highbury.
No, it's so
Okay.
true.
How?
Middle class white man from Wisconsin that goes to Marquette.
Okay.
We're bringing it back in 5.
Okay, Andrew,
4.
Andrew, we're going to talk about what makes a great stadium rather than the best, because that was a hot take that I can't defend.
We're coming
Okay.
back in 5, 4, 3. Welcome back to part 3 of the show, guys. There has been some tension behind the scenes of Point to the Spot. Yes, the podcast may be folding because of it. No, I'm only kidding. There was a debate yesterday, and it was harsh, and mean words were exchanged about what makes a great stadium and what are the greatest stadiums in Europe. Reed sported the hot take that Stamford Bridge was in the top 3 of such stadiums around the European continent. Andrew very much disagreed, as do I, but he is much more interesting to talk to in arguments than I am. So we're going to turn it over. Reed, first we'll start with you. What makes Stamford Bridge so great that you would put it into the top 3 stadiums in Europe?
All right, I got a couple things. And don't mute me. First off, this is the Reed Hammond variety show. Second off, I can't defend that hot take. It's virtually impossible. Third off, I would prefer this to be a conversation as to what makes a great stadium rather than me trying to fervorously defend a hot take I clearly cannot.
I would genuinely like to hear what you think the best stadiums in Europe are at the end, though, Reed.
Okay,
And
that's fine.
I won't criticize you.
No, criticize me. That's how you
Okay,
make better
that's fine.
content. Hashtag good content. So, Andrew, first off, I would like to hear what you think makes a great stadium.
So there are 3 things on my mind. And the first, and I think the most important, is atmosphere. And like a lot of the times when there's a good atmosphere at a stadium, it's not necessarily because of the stadium, but I think the best stadiums do in terms of like their design. Like you look at the Westfalenstadion with the yellow wall, like whoever the genius was when they were building that was like, hey, let's have a fucking standing section and call it the yellow wall. I mean, like that undoubtedly makes the stadium better. You know what I mean? Like the atmosphere at Dortmund matches is in many ways enhanced by the stadium design. Secondly, I think history, and then you look at like in England, Anfield and Old Trafford, a lot because of the history, you know, and all the ghosts of players past that have, you know, graced the field there. I think that contributes a large part of it too. And then third, I think the pure design. One of my favorite stadiums in Europe is the Stade Velodrome in Marseille. It's just a beautiful stadium. And, you know, like, does that dramatically influence the quality of play on the pitch? No. I mean, you could give Middlesbrough the most beautiful stadium in the world, and they would still be a shit team. But, like, I think that in terms of what makes a great stadium, as opposed to just, like, a good supporter section in a okay stadium, are those 3 things.
Okay,
Your rebuttal.
my clapback is that I think as a West Ham fan, I think I'm extraordinarily qualified to speak on this matter.
Yeah,
The
Reed,
distance.
I would think that you'd be
distance-
an expert on plastic fans in plastic stadiums, given that you have a lot of
Yes.
experience with the Olympic.
That is me. The distance of the supporters from the pitch, and that is my number 1 criteria at this point in my life. And that
Okay,
is
so okay, no, go ahead.
that's what birthed that crazy hot take that is clearly indefensible. Because you can reach out and touch the players at the bridge, and I think that's really important.
Okay, so then is White Hart Lane also in your top 3? or one of your best stadiums in Europe.
No, because they're
Hey, White Hart Lane, they're sitting on the field.
Yeah, they're even closer than Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, but White Hart Lane's White Hart Lane, and I hate them.
But you also hate Chelsea.
Yeah.
You're right. It's indefensible. That's why that hot take is indefensible.
All right.
No,
Point number
I
one
think-
goes to Andrew. Continue.
Okay. Yeah, I think it has to be distance from the pitch. I think history is also important because I don't think those Saudi stadiums are really that particularly interesting. And I'll go with a third. A third being die coefficient. You know what I mean?
So Upton Park
Because at the
very high
Emirates,
up on that.
Okay. So Upton Park probably running like a 7, right? The Emirates probably running the Upton Park probably running like a 0.7, and the Emirates running like a 0.1. Okay, and I think the sweet spot is like 8 to 6. Okay, like I don't want to be in the Baltics about to get fucking crucified, but I also don't want to be surrounded by grandmothers.
That's fair.
And
I'm
I
trying
think-
to go to one of these Bulgaria Premier League matches.
Dude, I do not. You'll get
Ceska
murdered.
Sofia, crazy.
Like
It's
the
all
rest-
standing,
or like the-
all
or like-
jumping,
Or like the
all burning.
the Belgrade Derby, where you're gonna get freaking murdered in like 7 seconds at any given time. No, and I think Andrew will come to a point of agreement at the end that the Vistalen Stadia meets all of their criteria
Yeah,
for everybody because
absolutely.
it is just clearly the best stadium in Europe.
I
But
agree.
I don't think, like, I think Anfield pre the renovation was not that good of a stadium. It was a decent stadium with a lot of history, but I think until they renovated it, it was not a particularly great stadium. And I don't think Old Trafford is a particularly great stadium. I think it's just Manchester United Stadium, and it just is a fortress.
I would agree with that.
It's a little run down.
For me,
Yeah,
actually, my favorite ground in England is actually St. James Park for Castle.
which is okay.
But I
They fail it.
I don't think there's any stadium in England that would crack my like top tier European stadium list.
Okay, I have one retort on that. I think Upton Park, give me a second. Don't mute me. Upton Park was in that great range. Okay, so I think Old Trafford kind of has it's old without being retro yet, you know? And I think Upton Park kind of had that. It had a retro coefficient going. It had a smelled like urine coefficient going. And like my previously stated likelihood of me dying high. So I think it met a lot of nostalgia points.
That's fair.
I'm saying the best ground in England, Fulham Stadium, Brendan Hove Albion, 2017, 2018 Premier League champions.
Isn't it like 5 miles from the city center?
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not that close anymore.
Okay, well, we're gonna mute Jack. I can't mute Jack because he's right
It
next.
sits 30,000 though. That's a lot bigger than I was expecting. Sorry, continue.
Okay, Andrew, let's round this off with give me your top 5. I'll give you my top 5.
Okay. So for me, the Calderon, the new camp,
Good job.
the Westfalen Stadion. This is in no particular order. The Stade Velodrome, and the San Siro.
Okay, so in descending order, I'll go Camp Nou, or New Camp, whatever you want to call it, Vistalen Stadia, and then I'll go Celtic Park.
That's a good shout.
Because-
That just missed the cut, I will say, for me.
For me, Celtic Park, it makes it solely off likelihood of death coefficient.
Especially if they're playing Rangers.
Which is just my favorite coefficient. And if you asked me this last year, maybe Stade Velodrome's making it in, but I don't particularly like going to snake pits.
And Reed's petty.
And I think what rounds it off, I can't say the bridge because it's just a lie. And I don't know. I'm so conflicted. I wanted to say the bridge. I'm saying the bridge, in being incorrect.
Please at Reed.
Find him on Twitter
Twitter.
at that one kid Reed.
I don't know. I see. Whenever I watch a Chelsea match, I feel like they just I feel like the fans dramatically improve what we see on the pitch.
I
I
think
think
we
that's
should have. I think England every year should host like well, I'm going to use French because it's funnier. Like the Coupe de Stadio, and they have the 32 best stadiums in England play one another so in like a knockout style tournament.
The
Condition: Celtic gets to play in the tournament.
Yeah.
we'll have the point to the spot stadium bar fight bracket challenge coming your way on Twitter.
My
That's all-
bar fight bracket challenge did not get the love it deserved. Okay.
That's all the
RIP.
time that we have, guys. Thank you all very much for listening. Of course, you can find us all on the social, as Reed likes to refer to it. Reed, where can they find you on Twitter?
At that one kid Reed.
Andrew, where can they find you?
And Andrew Ball, the AHL.
Of course, guys, you can find me at actual Jack Kelly. I am actually Jack Kelly.
Well, Jack, I think we should have a real quick point to the spot announcement. Reed and I'm not just going to
yeah.
Milwaukee for the hell of it, even though I do love Reed and I am looking forward to his futon. We have a very special pod coming up. We don't want to divulge the secrets, but you'll definitely want to be checking it out. It involves the Milwaukee Torrent, us, and a microphone. So you all should be very excited.
They credentialed the pod to cover a professional team. I don't know what's going on.
Credentialed
Okay,
is
I'm just
a very liberal interpretation of credentialed, I think.
I just want to talk to all the
believe this.
bookmakers listening. Who would have made the odds that first live pod with Andrew and not Jack?
That's very true.
And Jack, who I see essentially 100% of the time when we're in the same zip code.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, onwards.
If there's anything you want to find out about the only outdoor professional team in Wisconsin, or anything you want to find out about lower league professional football here in the States, shoot us a tweet at Point to the Spot with the number 2, guys. Of course, you should follow us on Twitter. That's where you get some of our best hashtag content. Make sure you check out our partners at AmericanEPLThoughts.com. You can find them on Twitter at AmericanEPL. If us talking doesn't get it done for you, maybe reading the stuff that Travis and the gang over there do will. For now, though, that's all the time that we have. We'll be back on Sunday, and I'm sure there will be many a tale to tell from Andrew's weekend in Milwaukee. So until then, have a great weekend.